Amy, meet Alyssa and her coworker, Lauren. Now, if you haven't guessed by now, this place is a museum, but it's also very important to the community here. But activity is bad. Employees are scared to come to work, and these guys are worried if someone should get hurt, it might be lights out for the museum.
When I walked the space next door.
That's the gallery.
Okay. I encountered death, and it felt a little twisted and a little off. It made me feel uneasy.
Now, Alyssa, you told me about a time that you actually ran out of here. Tell Amy about that.
I was upstairs, and at a certain point, I just got this random feeling of, I feel unwelcome, I feel uneasy. So I started to leave, and on the stairs, I actually felt and heard something behind me. And so instead of looking and checking it out, I just took off. I just left the building.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, Amy, what else?
So I did encounter a dead male and a dead female. I got that they did do a lot of stuff for the community here. The woman was a very good person. The man was a businessman. He was a mover and a shaker. He was very much in charge.
Amy, I got a pretty good idea. I know who you're describing. I'm thinking of a woman named Marty Weber. Now, Marty Weber owned the hotel right across the street here. It was called the Westin Hotel, and now it's actually owned by the museum. Now, a few years after Marty came to Lancaster, she married a successful businessman named George Weber. Now, George purchased the hotel in 1910, and the two ran it together. At the time, they opened up their doors to hundreds of workers who lived temporarily on the grounds because they were here working in the mines and stuff like that. Now, you said this woman was a good person. Well, Marty was one of the leading citizens in town that is known for her community service. Matter of fact, during the 1918 flu epidemic, she volunteered as a nurse. So I got a photo here of Marty, George, and the two kids. So is any chance that Marty and George were the couple you saw?
It's her, yeah. She looks like the lady for sure.
Okay.
I have researched Marty a lot, and she did a lot for the community. So I don't mind her being around. It's nice to know that she's still here.
So what else?
When I walked into the courtyard, I ran into several conscious dead people. There were about 8 or 9 elderly men. They all had military uniforms on. And I did hear them saying, things like officer and guard, which I believe were different jobs that they had maybe after the military. They feel that this place is theirs. There's a lot of resentment and anger with them because of how they feel it's not what it was for them. These guys do interact with the living quite frequently here because they do want the living out.
You just feel a sort of aggressive presence just following you around.
There was an instance where there was a group of people upstairs, and one of the females kept turning around and saying, stop doing that. She thought somebody was touching her hair and touching the back of her neck.
Interesting.
I hate to see young ladies have a stressful work environment.
It's like I do fear that I'm going to get hurt or that something's going to happen, particularly to me.
Now, you said something about these angry old men being officers and guards. Now, you guys thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
This property and the building have gone through a lot of changes over the years. The 1920s to the 60s, it was a jail.
Oh.
In fact, that structure is still standing out back. So there was plenty of guards walking around here for decades. The expert I spoke to said that anybody that got arrested in town went through this jail. It came to an end in 1962, but then the place became a mental health center and served military veterans. I'm wondering if that's why she saw all these military people.
I mean, yeah.
All right, so what else?
One of my biggest concerns is this male that I encountered. I referred to him as the odd man. I really felt uncomfortable around him. I felt like he was mentally unsound, and he is not good around women. I did see the letter J associated with him, but he was in his later 40s, like around 47 when he died.
Oh, there's a guy that came across my research that may fit that description. Man's name was Oscar Bruce. Now, he was a mailman who moved to Lancaster in 1953. Now, he was on his second marriage. This time he was married to a woman named Mildred Johnson. I'm wondering if that's where the J may be coming to effect here. Oscar and Mildred went through a messy divorce in 1954. Oscar was at his house where he used to live, and they were getting into a fight over alimony. During the argument, Oscar slapped Mildred around, and then he left. They came back at 5 a.m., but this time with a .45 automatic. Put one in Mildred's head. He shot the daughter, Kay, twice. But Kay was lucky and survived because she played like she was dead, and she was able to call the cops. So the cops grab him, gives a full confession. They go to trial. He gets the death penalty. The night before he's supposed to be executed, he gets a broken mirror and cuts his throat, and he kills himself. She said that he was probably 47. Well, Oscar was 47 when he killed himself. I got a picture of Oscar here. This is Oscar. Is it possible Oscar might be the guy?
Why would he be here?
His house was less than a quarter of a mile from here. It was an apartment where he was found.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You said he was concerned.
Yeah, I don't like him. The reason why he's here is not good for any person, especially women. And I know that he's keyed in on one living woman here. All I know about her is that she's got lighter colored hair, probably in her 30s. And what he was thinking when I was standing with him was like him wanting to cut her up. This is something that isn't a first time with him. You know, like something he may have even done when he was alive at some point and thoroughly enjoyed.
So he's looking to hurt somebody?
I feel like he definitely would like to and is planning on it.
Of all the girls I interviewed, you're the one with the lightest hair.
Yeah.
You're in your 20s. That can't be a good feeling.
No, it's not a good feeling. A lot of the time, almost anywhere in the building, I feel like someone's right behind me, following me around, watching my every move.
So I had a sketch done of what I saw him doing.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah.
That really freaks me out. The other day, I mentioned that it felt like someone was peeking around the doorway, staring at you, watching your every move.
He is wanting to harm. He wants to do what he wants to do in the way he wants to do it, and he wants to cut.